What a headshot! What a head!
How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'll be taking you through my team selection for the upcoming blank game week 34. Now you guys probably know this, you're probably on the chip yourself, but my team selection is going to be my freer team selection, as I have already activated the chip for this upcoming blank game week. I don't really have to give you guys a reason why I basically had 2 or 3 players for blank game week 34, so it's kind of a no-brainer, and that's the way I set it up on the wildcard. So in this video, I'll go over my current freer team selection with all the information that we know at this stage of the season, but I'd always recommend watching out for those press conferences coming up on Thursday as well as Friday. If you guys want the most up-to-date team as possible, just join me for my deadline stream 1 hour before the deadline, as some of these choices of players might go down to the wire, but the team looks pretty actually settled. So if you guys want to see how my freer team is currently looking, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. Now the first talking point of the video is not going to be how double game week 33 is currently progressing. We still have one game coming up tonight, Arsenal taking on Crystal Palace. So I probably will release a video maybe on Friday. If I don't, in the deadline stream, you guys can see the up-to-date rank. But at the moment, hasn't been that much of a significant game week, and the overall rank has stayed pretty constant. You guys can let me know how your game week is going though. If you were on the bench boost, how did your bench boost actually end? But in this video, I'll be focusing mainly on game week 34's blank. Now the first talking point won't be the actual fixtures, well I guess it kind of is. But we're going to take this one step further, look at the projected clean sheets and predicted goals, as I have made a few changes to my current freer draft because of this information. So I said I'll be going over this in the freer draft I released on Monday afternoon, so let's head straight into it. So let's go over the predicted clean sheet percentages for all fixtures. As you guys can see, 2 less fixtures than normal because of the blank game week, so there's only going to be 4 teams per category. Now this week we have had a change to the fixture difficulty ratings. We do have Southampton as a 1 for example now, probably one of the first times in my FPL career that I've seen a 1 rating, but we haven't changed our colors. It's green to grey to pink to finally maroon. Now you guys have to kind of focus on these numbers, especially this week. On a free hit, you guys definitely want to target the most optimal fixtures. So there are 4 teams that are going to be in green. The first one, Newcastle at 47%. So this does put a little bit of a span in the works because Newcastle, a team that you probably want to target from an attacking point of view, have the best clean sheet odds this game week. Now they followed 5% less by Chelsea at 42%, and this surprised me as I had no Chelsea defensive coverage in my team. So just one of the examples where my team and my draft has changed to accommodate that, and I'd probably agree that I think Chelsea have a good chance of a clean sheet there, as Everton aren't in a great attacking moment. Now next up is going to be Wolves. I think someone like an Aït-Nouri is probably locked into our team, and on my initial draft I had Jose Sá between the sticks. So let's see if I do have that same occurrence. Pretty good percentages there if you guys want to go for a Wolves defender, and probably just makes Aït-Nouri even better with that massive attacking threat. Then finally, in terms of our top 4 teams, it's Liverpool at 38%, and I kind of just wish we get an indication if Trent is going to start this one, because if he does, he'll be definitely in my freer team. I just kind of think his ceiling is too high with his attacking threat, on set pieces, direct free kicks, that sort of thing. I just don't think we'll get that indication from Slot though in the press conference, and even if he starts, might be subbed earlier, which isn't always a bad thing. I think I might just play it safe though, even with this high percentage. I don't think it's worth going for someone like a Virgil or Konate. I would definitely prefer Trent. So let's see what happens in those press conferences though. Now there are other few teams here. Some teams just narrowly missed out on the ranking. For example, Fulham 35%, understandable. Southampton's a great fixture. But I don't know if I would put Southampton as the highest predicted goal scorers out of the newly promoted squads. That's where I'm kind of battling at the moment, as I do kind of feel like Ipswich might be more likely to score than Southampton. And I don't even know if I can trust that Wolves defense even with 40%. The one I also want to highlight is if you want to go for a team like a Bournemouth, 33% is still pretty high. Otherwise Brighton on 34%, someone like an Estupiñán might be quite attractive. We do kind of have limited spots though, and therefore I would probably target the high percentage players. It's just going to be a balance between defensive and attacking numbers. So you guys can pause the screen if you want to right now, but now let's go on to the more exciting kind of attacking numbers. And these will be the projected goals for blank game week 34. So once again, those green fixtures, the highest predicted goal scorers Liverpool at 2.95, They follow closely by Newcastle at 2.85, and that's where our dilemma kind of comes in. So we have the best defensive team in terms of projected clean sheets versus the second highest projected goal scorers. It's literally a coin flip about who you double up in your Newcastle selection. So you're probably going for someone like an Isaac, you might be going for one defender. Do you go for another attacker or another defender? That's where you guys kind of have to split your decisions in terms of the Game Week 34 free hit. There's quite a big drop off though into 3rd and 4th with Wolves and Brighton both on 2.0, and then a close drop off to Bournemouth on 1.95 and a team like a Chelsea on 1.85. Fulham also on 1.95, and that's the reason I'm kind of going for an Iwobi or Raul Jimenez if we get an indication that Muniz is out injured. There could be goals in all these fixtures, just depends on who scores the most. Inversely, you probably should avoid the newly promoted squads in Everton. Their projections aren't that high, but definitely some great matchups for our free hit 34 draft. But once again, you guys can pause the screen if you want to. These numbers are super integral to those free hit decisions, and in the deadline stream I'll go over some updated numbers as the days go by. But now that we've gone over those projected clean sheets and goal numbers, let's go on to the actual free hit draft, and I'm going to build this actually the natural way I would have. So I won't be going from kind of goalkeeper to forwards position by position. I'll be going over each player in terms of importance and basically locking in my selections from start to finish. So the first player I want to talk about is the no-brainer. It's Mo Salah. As a Liverpool fan with the chance of winning the Prem in Game Week 34, I definitely think Salah will be my captain against Spurs, even with those highest projected goals. Kind of a no-brainer, high effective ownership, the most projected goals. Can't see many people going without Salah for this week. Then the second player, Isaac, also kind of a shoe-in, a no-brainer in terms of the forward department, and they're also the second highest projected scorers in terms of the goals. Now next up is going to be Cunha. Now that he's back from the suspension, was starting the game last week, do you think he's fit enough to play in Game Week 34? Also a newly promoted side, very high projected goals, and probably the main talisman for Wolves at the moment. Then I've also spoken about his colleague Ait Nori. I just think with that good kind of defensive clean sheet chance plus the attacking threat, also makes him quite a bit of a no-brainer. The next player you guys can go for kind of Trippier or Fabian Schär if he's back from injury. He did pick up a knock apparently in Game Week 33. I do kind of feel like most people are going for a Newcastle defender that's the natural choice, but it seems like Nick Pope might be slightly more popular than someone like a Trippier. The kind of only reason I'm going for Trippier is that he's attacking threat slightly more than someone like a Pope. Fingers crossed there's no rotation or that Trippier's fit for Game Week 34. Now I'm also going to capitalize on the double up in the Liverpool attack. I believe Luis Diaz is the most nailed out of the rest of the forwards, as he can either play left wing or the striker position. Now I've already mentioned that kind of Salah has a high chance of scoring. Liverpool could win the Prem. Just kind of makes a great storyline, and I feel like Liverpool will be up for this game at home. Now let's see what kind of Slot says in the press conference. This could become Gakpo, this could become Jota if we get any indication that Luis Diaz won't start, but I'm pretty confident he'll play at one of those two positions. So I would probably say that these 6 players are locked in at the moment in terms of my team selection, and the rest might be up for debate starting from now till the end of the team selection. A player I do think will be selected is someone like an Iwobi from Fulham for some of their attacking coverage, as with speculation about Raul Jimenez minutes. I think Iwobi might be slightly safer. I just think that you guys have to target the fixtures. Southampton aren't the best defense, and I do favor Iwobi to do quite well in this fixture. Now let's go to our goalkeeper position, because I mentioned that I've kind of switched up my defense quite a bit, and here's where the Chelsea option does come in. I've gone for Sanchez against Everton. Now I know that Everton might not be that smart going for them over a newly promoted squad, but I just feel like Everton's attacking form hasn't been that great. Chelsea also in the mix of those kind of European spots. They have to win this one, and the best place to start is keeping a clean sheet. Now while most people have probably gone for Cucurella, I've gone for Sanchez. I just prefer some other kind of outfield defenders, but either one of those two is going to be a good selection. Now here's the point where you guys have to make those 50-50 calls. The biggest one is going to be who to go for from Newcastle, an attacker or defender. In this kind of draft, I've actually gone for Fabian Schär as long as he's back from injury. Now if he's not, this could become someone like a Robinson or a Sessegnon who's slightly more attacking. As with him, if he's back from injury, seems like he might have picked up a knock in double Game Week 33. So with that Newcastle defense, I'm going for the kind of safer option with Harvey Barnes, Gordon and Jacob Murphy. They could share some minutes. but if you do manage to select the player that gets the most minutes, that's going to be absolute golden. I just can't see Anthony Gordon not getting minutes in this one, and that's why I think either Murphy or Barnes gets subbed. I would have thought it would have been Barnes, but in Game Week 33, it was Murphy subbed off earlier. So let's see if maybe we get an indication from if Eddie Howe's back from his illness in the press conference. Otherwise, I could go for the safer option of just going for Fabian Schär if he's back from injury. Now that therefore has a knock-on effect, we now have a midfielder slot that's opened, and therefore I'll be going for Cole Palmer. Yes, controversial, but I do feel like he's a good talisman. As mentioned, Chelsea have to win this one in those European spots, and I just feel like Cole Palmer has so many avenues for those FPL points. Might be slightly boring, but could do well against Everton. This might be the only slot that you guys might have some debate on, but I'm pretty comfortable going for the more expensive premium midfielder, even though the form is simply terrible. Now the last striker slot, I've got Raul Jimenez currently because if Muniz is out injured, he guarantees quite a few minutes. But if Muniz is back from injury, I'll probably go for someone else because of that uncertainty. So this actually could become someone like a Strand Larsen from Wolves. Yes, the double up in the Wolves attack might not be that fantastic, but they do have a great fixture against Leicester at home. So let's just see what happens with Raul Jimenez. I do prefer him slightly, but Larsen could also be a good selection. Slightly more differential in those freer drafts. Now in terms of the bench, you guys can go for anyone. I've actually selected some players here that have some talking points, so this doesn't reflect the money in the bank at the moment. So my second goalkeeper, simple no-brainer. I'm just going for the Chelsea backup in case there is some rotation, as I feel like that fixture is good enough to go for the double up. Then Mbeumo might be slightly boring, but like Cole Palmer, has so many avenues for points. I just don't favour the Nottingham Forest fixture for Brentford. Then Trent, obviously already spoken about. If he is back, confirmed to start, I might go from in my defensive department. Just has such a high ceiling, and as mentioned, Liverpool could win the Prem this game week. Then finally Sessegnon, if he does start out of position as kind of a winger, he's a no-brainer. Great fixture and hopefully good attacking threat. Also, we'll be monitoring him in the press conference. If he is back to full fitness or he isn't injured, I'll probably select him and maybe drop Schär and go for something like a Harvey Barnes. Don't exactly know who I will drop from a midfield department there. Might just drop Raul Jimenez and go for a 5 in midfield. Haven't really seen too much variation from the 3-4-3 in most drafts though. But this is just my team. Your guys' team is probably different. It might be better than mine. So comment it down below. I want to see how those freer drafts are coming along. Otherwise, let's just hope that we have a Saka masterclass tonight to repay the captaincy. And I'll update you guys in the rank in the deadline stream or a video coming later in the week. Hopefully I do see you guys in the deadline stream. Make sure those notifications are on so that you guys get notified when I do go live. And hopefully I see you guys over there on Saturday. But this is basically a wrap for the video, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Please don't like it and subscribe if you have subscribed yet. Tons of content still to come up from now to the end of the season. So it wouldn't hurt if you guys hit the subscribe button. But for the time being, I'm signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers, bye.